record. So we're recording. So welcome to week 1. Lauren and I are going to just give y'all some really good information. I'm looking at my list too, Lauren, to make sure that we have everything that you guys need. So we want to talk about today. So in our new coach training in the Business Builders page, the way I was dropped into coaching is that boom, on day 1, you made your coach announcement, right? So, and that's totally cool. I think that's good. If you did that, that's awesome. But I really like to just kind of set you guys up for success. We want you to understand, like we talked about last week, that this business, your platform is social media, right? So understanding about stories and, posting and things like that is really important. I don't know about you, but I know Lauren and I we thrive on telling our story and talking about what God's done for us in our health and fitness and in coaching and things like that. So the sooner you get comfortable sharing on social media, the sooner you're going to get better at all the other stuff, I just think personally. And so we really give you guys a really good foundation for that. And then we want to talk to you guys today about posting, about images and stories, about how to create engagement with your audience, how to grow your audience, and definitely how to invite. So has everybody printed off their business activity tracker first? Let me ask you that. If you have not, that's the number one thing that you need to do before you start working your business today. All right. And actually when you print off 4 of them because you're going to do it for the whole month. Actually, if you want to print off 52, print off 52, because I think everybody should give this business a year, honestly. And so a year of showing up and doing that for yourself. And so let's just jump straight into what we're going to talk about. And you guys can unmute yourself. You can ask questions in the chat bar. You can do whatever you want to communicate with us. But we just want to drop a whole bunch of information on you and talk you through some things. So I told you guys yesterday, I talked about Emerald, and we'll talk about that at the end of the call too. But first, let's talk about posting. So posting is, again, it's a way to share your story. Yes, every single day you're going to be behind the scenes talking to people, inviting people to your challenge groups, tracking people, following up with people. But honestly, you know what people are going to do the instant that you invite them to a challenge group? They're going to go and they're going to look at your social media feed, right? So that's why we place so much emphasis on posting, because that is where you actually get to tell your story. And I know it can be a little bit overwhelming because if you're like me, I went from posting nothing, literally nothing at all ever, to posting 5 times a day, which is what they told us to do in the beginning. And so that was really hard. Honestly, now, thankfully, the way the algorithms are set up, I don't think you should be posting more than twice a day. Okay. So if that gives you a little breathing room, great. But the thing is, what do you post about, right? What do you post about that doesn't sound salesy? What do you post about that promotes the lifestyle and the opportunity that you're promoting? And what do you post about that allows you to be yourself? Guys, if you don't hear anything else I say, please don't copy and post other people's posts, all right? I've done it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not judging. I've done it, but it doesn't work. All right. So that's why we have you fill out that color wheel, because that gives you a starting point on what to start posting. And I literally just take my color wheel every week and I review my social media feed and I plan my content for the next week, because I want to be a feed that people are constantly coming back to because I'm adding value, I'm being myself, and people relate to my story. So okay, so posting 1 to 2 times a day. So I kind of have a posting schedule. Lauren, I don't know if you do this for your team or not, but I have a calendar, and we all kind of follow the same posting schedule. So on Sundays, it's usually a call to action. Mondays is about motivation. Tuesdays, always Transformation Tuesday. Wednesday is value added, share a recipe, share a tip, share something that adds value to people's lives, something you give away basically for free. It can be a meal plan. It can can be a recipe, whatever. I like today I'm going to share tips. Like I have a picture of Milo at the pool, my son, and I'm going to share tips for like on the go. Like what can you prepare ahead of time so you can grab and go kind of thing, right? Thursday is always a coaching post. So it's always something about coaching. It can be anything from personal development to income to travel to community, like goals, like vision, anything related to coaching. Friday is like either Flex Friday or Foodie Friday or Five Things Friday. That's kind of like a toss-up, right? And then Saturday is definitely like it is a toss-up. You post about whatever you want to on Saturday. Now, those are just my posts, okay? So in the meantime, I'm filling in everything else with my stories, and I know Lauren does this too. So every day I am doing my vitals in my stories, okay? So when you pull out that business activity tracker, and it says read personal development, I usually share something from my personal development in my stories every day. I invite in my stories every day. I don't think you can follow up in your stories. I guess you kind of could, but I recognize other people in my stories every day. And so like that is what you're going to do there, but you're also going to fill it in with a whole lot of real life. Like I don't think our stories should just be coaching stuff. I struggle with that because I do just want to post coaching stuff, but I find that the more Milo I put in there, or baseball, or like fashion and like just the hot mess mom, I need to do laundry kind of stuff. Like that's the kind of stuff that people love from my stories. And I pepper in the rest of my coaching stuff, and people relate to the real life stuff, and then they respond to the invites and the coaching invites. Okay. So you're posting, obviously on your social media feed, your Instagram, guys, these pictures have to be Instagram worthy. What do I mean by that? They can't be dark. They can't be grainy. They can't be blurry. They can't be stock photos. Do not ever, ever, ever use stock photos. Now I say that sometimes I might use like a funny letterboard quote or something like that, but like 99.9% of the time, you're going to go to my Instagram feed and it's going to be me, right? It's going to be pictures from my life. It may be a picture I took a year ago, but it's going to be a picture of my life, because people are coming to you. You are marketing yourself and your brand and what you have to offer. You're not marketing Beachbody. You're not marketing, Shakeology. You're not marketing Autumn Calabrese. You're marketing what this has done for you. And so that is your story that you're telling every single day. All right. Does anybody have questions about posts? Are you struggling with anything in particular when it comes to posting? Lauren, you can add to whatever I just said if I missed something. Let me unmute you. Hold on. There you go.
Okay. No, I agree with all that. I don't have a particular schedule that I follow. I'm one of those people that if I like pre-write a post, like for the next day, like I almost can't post it because I don't feel it anymore. So, but one thing that I will do is like every once in a while I will get in a really reflective state. Like I'm just like, I like have like a million things that are just popping up in my head. And what I'll do is I'll go sit down in front of my computer, and I'll just beg Josh. I'm like, Josh, take the boys for a bike ride or something. I need this minute. And I'll just sit out and just write all those little things that are just whatever coming to me. And usually, like I always joke, it's usually in the shower because that's the longest period of time I have to like think without someone asking me for a snack. So usually I'm like in the shower and it's just like thoughts after thoughts are coming to me. And so as soon as I get out of the shower, I'll go to my computer and I'll just write all those little snippets out. And then that way, because there's a Google Doc app, later on I can just copy and paste to just any random picture. And I do want to say, like, I don't know if Rachel's going to go more into pictures here in a second. Yeah. But your pictures do not have to match your caption. Like you could be talking about drinking more water and you do not have to have a picture of you with a water bottle. Like it can just be you like running on the beach. I don't know what you're doing, but it can be a picture of you and your dog, and you can be talking about water, and there's not like a disconnect for people. As long as they're seeing you and your personality in those pictures, they're still going to read those posts. And so literally I will just, it's not like I sit there and I write out all these things and then think, okay, I have to go take pictures for all of that. Like you can literally just grab any good picture you have. So know that I don't sit there and like fine tune that part of it. But yeah, that's how I do my posting. I don't have a schedule, but I do, like you said, I will go look at my feed. What do I have a lot of? What do I need to add more of? And then go from there.
Yeah, and that's when I say we'll get more into this, I think maybe later in the month, but let me share with you. I'll just pull up Instagram really quickly. I think that too, Lauren and I can both speak to this because we've been in this for a little while. But I think, social media has changed so much. People don't want to see the arm length selfie anymore. They will scroll on past your photo if you are just taking selfies all day, every day. So one of the things that I like to do for my team and, we're willing to do for you is like sometimes I'll just go live and coach basics and we can do like a social media audit if you want us to, I will be very real with you because I think that's the best way I can serve you. And you're just starting to. Some of you guys may not just be starting, but, I evaluate my social media feed every single day. I'm going to do it now. I'm going to be like truthful with myself right now. Hold on just a second. Can you guys see this?
Yes.
So this is what we call your grid. And we've given you guys a lot of really good content in Business Builders for you to watch and hear from other people. But I will review my grid. So first of all, your Instagram page does not need to say Beachbody Coach. It doesn't need to have a link to your Beachbody anything. I have on here, the closest thing to that I have is Certified Master Coach, but people don't know what that is. And so but it has that, obviously I'm faith-based because I have a scripture verse there. And my goal with having it first is that someone who doesn't know what that is will go look up John 3:16. Obviously I'm a boy mom. I am certified master coach. So that means to me, I should be seeing something health related there in my feed, right? Surviving mommyhood, that's just a funny. And then I'm from the South, and goal getter kind of just implies that yes, maybe she owns a business, but it doesn't say what type of business. It's very vague on purpose. I feel like the thing that gives me away the most is that I have a link tree. And so if you go to somebody's Instagram bio and they have a link tree, well, not always. Actually, there's a lot of people that just, they have a blog or they have other things and they have a link tree. So my feed should always include something from this right here. If I say I'm a boy mama, but you don't ever see my kids in my pictures, that's weird. If it says that I'm faith-based, but I don't ever talk about faith in my posts, that's kind of weird, right? So if you need to just take your color wheel and create your bio so that people know what to expect from you a little bit right when they go to your Instagram feed. Because again, they're going to do that when you invite them. And so then a social media audit. So I always aim to have a transformation photo in at least 9 squares. Every 9 squares, I want to have you to scroll once and you see a transformation, okay? And then obviously I work a business. I'm posting a picture of Milo today, but I do put a lot of family in here. Obviously there's my Bible. I'm not marketing the Bible, but it was just something, it went with what I wanted to say. I actually shared this photo right here down here and this one up here. And I was like, oh, Christy, one of my coaches, I was like, I didn't even care. I wanted to use the photo again. It was a little bit different and I shouldn't have, but that's okay. And then so fashion, people ask me a lot of things. This post was not about fashion, but people love those earrings and they love it when I wear that shirt. Okay. So I put that there to grab people's attention with what I wanted to say. Here's the value. Here's the nutritional tip. I do these, if I do some quotes or something, or if I just want words, and I usually have a same kind of a brand when I do that as well. I always use that pink color and I'm just make those in word swag. Again, here's another value added tip. Here's recognition of another coach. Here's another transformation. And so team, community, faith again. So that's my social media audit. And you can actually, if you have a business account, you can actually go and look and see what photos did the best, because honestly, you guys, your photo is going to make people stop to read what you have to say. So that's why we're stressing photos so much. And it just takes practice. Don't feel like, oh, I'm awful at photos. I'm awful at writing posts. I'm awful at all this stuff. We were awful too when we first started. And so that, it just takes some practice, but it's so fulfilling to find your voice and to start to share what God has given you to share. All right. So did I miss anything? What you said that about you don't even have to use a photo that's related to your content. That's so true. It's crazy. It does not matter. All right. So were there any other questions down here? I can't scroll down my chat for some reason. Okay. Chat. Okay. I don't know why it's not scrolling down. All right. So, so posts are also a really good place to handle objections, you guys. And I think I can't remember if I challenged you guys with this last week, but I always tell coaches, new and old, to sit down, open up a Google Doc and write out your story. Like, who were you before you started? Like, who are you before you started coaching or joined a challenge group? Like, what were your struggles? What type of history did you have with health and fitness? Were you a yo-yo dieter? Did you struggle with an eating disorder? Were you one of those people that never had trouble losing weight? Maybe you're still one of those people that never had trouble, doesn't have trouble losing weight. But like, write down who you were. For me, when I sit down to write out and think about it a lot, like I pull things all the time that I forget about. Like the fact that when I first started working out, I had to shove my coffee table out of the way. I would work out at 4:00 in the morning because my kids always woke up at 4:30, and a lot of times when I first started out, Satan was against me, and they woke up at 4:15 every day, and I had to pause the workout and then finish it later. So like, that's part of my story that a mama, whenever I make my call to action post on Sunday night, is going to read and be like, oh my gosh, like that's me, right? And so write out your story from beginning to now. Like, what are some obstacles you've overcome with family, with friends, with finances, with time, like with starting and stopping. Like, we all have them. And talk about, like, when you write your story, talk about how you came across the challenge group opportunity or the coaching opportunity. What has made you stick with it? What do you get from the challenge groups that you weren't getting before? What do you get from your coach or from being a coach? Like, those are all little pieces that you're going to use to write these posts. So like, I say it all the time to my team, I could make a post about washing dishes and turn it into a coaching post, because like, it's just, take real life, take your life and apply it to how it is different now. And so like, that's where the content is going to come from your posts. So, don't follow a whole lot of other coaches, because you're going to compare, you're going to start to copy, you're going to start to say, I can't do it like she does. And that's the whole point. You're not supposed to do it like she does. Lauren, do you want to talk about stories for next?
Yes, I did want to add something really quick that has really helped me with my just posting in general and just social media and just really the whole business. But for a long time, like, I was creating posts because I was told to create posts a certain way, and I did it and whatever. But I finally was just like, no, like, what makes me excited? Like, really, when I look at this business, what makes me excited about it? When I look at the nutrition plan, what makes me excited about it? And that's how I've started sharing. So basically, like, like I can say, there's a new program coming out, with Jericho. I'm like, what makes me excited about that program? That's what I'm going to post. Because if I'm just posting the stats and statistics that Beachbody gives me, which are good, like, they're good to work from, but if I'm just doing that for the sake of doing it, it's going to fall flat and no one's going to care. If I am writing about how I'm going to earn like Success Club or something, I don't know if I would share that, but how I'm going to get Success Club, but like, I'm not actually excited about, what the outcome is, then it's going to fall flat. And so, like, I've even made posts before, like you said, washing the dishes, it made me think of it. I've made posts before where I was in the middle of washing the dishes. I stopped and I literally took a picture of myself, like, on the timer, because we're awkward now. Your coach, you're awkward now, and you take pictures of yourself all the time. And took a picture, and I was like, I was just doing the dishes, and I literally just had to stop because I was so overwhelmed at the thought of going to on a cruise. Like, I really did. I made a post just like that because I was sitting there. I'm a normal mom. I was washing the dishes, and all I could think about was going on this cruise, what I was going to wear, and how my husband was going to be so excited. And like, I just wrote that out, and I just posted it and just let people know that that is what lights my fire. Like, I'm pumped about that. So anything that you're excited about will make a good post. Rachel, what was it about stories?
Just want to talk to them about how to begin to use that and like what to post in their stories. And just kind of moving through the business activity tracker, honestly.
Gotcha. Okay. So with stories, like, it's once again, the most awkward feeling thing in the world at first, because you're like looking at yourself in a screen. And so you kind of start you start overthinking it while you're talking. But really what I want you to imagine is that you're FaceTiming your best friend or your mom or whoever it is that you like to FaceTime. Like I love FaceTiming my mom. And when I do, I'm just like a chatterbox and I'm funnier than I am usually. And I'm just, whatever. So when I am doing an Instagram story, I pretend like I'm telling it to my mom. And even this is something you're allowed to do. Like if you have a funny story, like tell it to Instagram stories. Like Courtney Samala, she's not on the call right now, but she like showed her Mother's Day cards. Like she was just telling a friend about her Mother's Day cards, and it was hysterical. And it really helped me get to know her better. Yesterday, Mackenzie was showing us her recipe book, and just like, she was just showing it to us like it was a friend at her house. Like, you've got to see this. And she was opening it up and pointed to a recipe she loved. And here's how it turned out. And it's so personal. And that is how you build those connections to where people, when you invite them the next time, they're like, oh yeah, she's that friend that shows me her recipe book, or she's that friend who told me that funny story. Like I know that's not really what happened. Like you didn't just show it to her, but that's the way those stories make you feel. It genuinely feels like you are having a conversation with that person. And so as awkward as you feel on the other side of the camera, your followers are eating it up, especially if it's like, in real time and they're seeing your face and all that. It just does better than just a picture with captions on it. So definitely at least once a day, aim to have a conversation with your followers in that way, whether it's a funny story or a tip or whatever, have a conversation. But at the same time, it's also really good to have awesome graphics. And Rachel, I'll let you talk about that because I love yours all the time.
My graphics. Okay. So I think that, so I have on my, I make notes for you guys. I have Instagram stories, y'all. This is where it's at. That's what my notes say. Because we didn't have this when we were brand new coaches. And that's why we posted 5 to 7 times a day, because if we wanted to capture people's attention with our story, with our message, with our brand, we had to be posting multiple times a day just so that we could reach different people who were on social media. Now stories really does that for us. And also it allows us to not have to be sitting there with our phone in our hand all day, every day, trying to come up with something to say. I mean, we would be crappy moms and crappy wives if that was the case, right? I think I was for 2 years actually. Now we get to use stories to do that. And I can plan some of my content out ahead of time. Yes, I do. I make a social media marketing plan, try to do it for the week. If not, I do it for a couple of days, but it's like a reality TV show, honestly, but you don't have to be glued to your phone. What I do when I'm with the boys, I'll try to unplug from 3 to 8 for the most part while they're in school. And so I might have my phone and I might take some pictures, but I don't necessarily have to post them right now because stories are up for 24 hours, right? So it is. I would, like Lauren said, I love that she said that. Talk to one person when you're talking in your stories, because that makes even one follower feel like, hey, she's talking to me. I say y'all a lot, and I try not to say y'all because I don't want it to seem like I'm talking to everybody, but it is very much like a reality TV show. Think about how popular the Kardashians are, how popular all these shows are, and it's just because people are letting them into every aspect of their lives. And so that's kind of what you're going to do, but you don't, just pick the things that are important to you. Again, I follow that theme. I want to share something from the boys every single day, whether it's a plate of food that they eat or just us playing in the yard. I want to share, I do like to share some, obviously I share scripture every morning. I share my workout every day. There's a general theme to what I share throughout the day. Honestly, I don't want to be predictable, but I want to be predictable enough that people come back to look for certain things, right? So every morning, that my followers know they're going to get a scripture verse, and usually they're going to get something a little extra, what did that verse say to me? How can I use it to encourage someone else? They're going to get something funny from the boys usually in the afternoons after I pick them up from school. They're going to get, I'm going to show every day a little bit of my work. I'm posting this call in my stories and talking about the fact that I'm working. I'm training my team members, right? I invite to something every day. It might be, hey, do you want to try my workouts for free? It might be a challenge group invite series. It might be me just talking a couple of frames and talking about how excited I am about my challenge groups, I recognize someone else every single day. It might be a coach, it might be a challenger, it might be another coach I respect a lot, it might be someone totally unrelated to coaching, but just that is part of my brand. So like if I recognize a faith-based woman or a woman who makes really cool lunch boxes for her kids or something like that, I usually try to keep it in my brand. And so it is definitely a place that is just supposed to be your life. You don't have to overthink it, just be impromptu, but it's an awesome, awesome place to add value, again, to invite and to create engagement. So engagement in stories, they have made it so easy for you to connect with the people that follow you. Okay. And so like I do every single day. That's another thing I do is I give my audience at least one opportunity to engage with me over something that's not related to health and fitness. So today I already did it just a little bit ago, but I was in my kitchen making my shake, and it was also a place for me to show my shake, even though I didn't talk about it. I was in my kitchen and I just showed some pictures of the boys that are on my fridge, and they were like from forever ago. And I was just talking about how fast time goes by and like how they're so cute, but it made me sad. And I just put a little poll at the bottom, and people will engage with that. Last week I did one about like, do you read a book at the pool? And I had lots of people that voted in that poll. And that just gives me an opportunity to start a conversation, a genuine conversation, and help people feel like they know me, right? We don't want to like tell everybody just about us. We want to ask questions about our audience so that they feel engaged and connected to us too. So that's a really good place to do that, all right? And so like I try to spread out my stories so that I'm not just posting like 20 stories from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. You know, like I aim for like minimum 7 to 10 stories a day, but you want to spread those out so that your followers have that content. Also, we'll talk about this another week, but you can actually go back and look and see who's watching your stories and start to build relationships that way too. So don't let stories overwhelm you. My best tip for stories is to have fun with it. Yes. Have a lot of fun with it. Do your vitals in your story. You know, like I shared a template with my new coaches today. It was a story series I made. I'm going to post later today. And it was just like, what is the challenge group, right? And so like educate your audience on what you do. Invite them there by putting in a poll or saying, you know, send me a message or put your email in here. You can do that once a day and still not be pushy and like salesy, because they go away in 24 hours and you're filling in the rest of the time with just real life. Yeah. What questions do y'all have about stories or about inviting or about engagement? Because this is like, I get geeky about it. I think it's fun. I think it's really cool. And I'm like, if you're coming back to watch my stories every day, you're going to get invited to my challenge group.
I have noticed, because what Rachel said about like if you post everything like all at once for the day in a 10-minute setting, because I did a training on this like a year ago even, and it's still true. They were like, we can't get our engagement up in our stories. Like we have this many followers, but only this many people are seeing our stories. And the reason why is they were posting all of their stories all at once for the day at one time and never going back and posting random things or just even, you know, spacing it out. And what that did was it only, you know, like whenever you have when you see the Instagram story bubbles at the top, it only pushed their bubble to the front one time that day. Each time you post a story, it pushes your bubble to the front again. So that's why you want to do it like randomly throughout the day and not just all at once.
Yeah. That's a good point. I didn't think about that. And two, like I personally don't love to like open up somebody's stories and see like 100 little dots. Like I'm never going to get through all that. And I just click out of it. So like, I sometimes I feel like I do post too many, but, I think that like, just try to keep it at a minimum. Okay. And I just shared in the comments or the chat, my favorite apps. She was talking about how she likes my stories. My favorite apps to use for stories are Unfold, Over, and Mojo. Okay, those are the ones I keep on my phone. I use them almost every day. Canva.com, CANVA.com I can do that on my desktop. And when I create a story series in Canva, I can share it with my team and they can edit it and do it too.
I need you to walk through, by the way, so I can do that for my team because I am.
Yeah. It's, and I don't like to be on my phone a lot. I love those apps. Like, I love those apps, but I don't like to be on my phone all the time. And doing those on Canva, I can create them from my computer while I'm working and and actually use them again, like just go back and edit them. Andrea said, what are some ideas on how to invite in stories daily? I have been asking the same question as a call to action. Okay, this is really good. Do you want to take that, Lauren? You're pretty good.
Sure. And thank you, because I feel like it's a weakness, but I know what to do. I just don't do it like I should. So there's a lesson for you today too. So one thing that I do is I write out a bullet point, just a very skimp list of all the things I like about coaching. And then I also have a list of all the things I like about my boot camps. Mm-hmm. And there's usually 10 to 15 things on that list. So that's plenty of content. And so once a day, I will just depending on whether, just so you guys know, right now I am in boot camp inviting season because I'm really focusing on inviting to just the boot camp portion of the business right now. And then after the 17th, when that boot camp starts, I'll start posting very coach heavy things. So that's kind of how my marketing plan works. I usually still do a little bit of both anyway, but it's very heavy on one side and then on the other side, the second half of the month. So in order to invite, for example, with the coaching part of the business, I love traveling. It lets me travel more. So I could make a quick post about how I have loved traveling. I'm excited to go to Indianapolis in July. Do you love to travel in your post? Yes or no? I mean, obviously make it a little bit more exciting than that, but there you go. How often do you travel in the year? And then less than 6 or more than 6. I don't know. Just some sort of creative poll that you can do. And here's what's really cool about that in terms of connecting with people. So when people vote, because they love to vote on things, people love to give their opinions. When people vote on something that's not business related, you can then say, oh, that's so cool. Where do you like to travel to? And that opens up, it gives you a conversation. It's not just a yes or no thing. And then there's something that you can ask about them because they want you to ask about them. That's just how the world works. That's why we have social media. So that gives you a way to interact. And then you can also do with boot camps. Do you want to grow a booty or do you want to get abs? Everyone's going to vote on that. I get so many votes on that. I use that at least twice a month. And then that way you can start, well, this program did this or this program did that. And you can have that conversation again. So you can do so much inviting that way without even knowing, they don't even know you're inviting. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think that you can too, Andrea, which is so many coaches that all of us worry about, how can I do it without being salesy? If you share value, if you add a tip, whatever it is, you can always follow it up with. Do you need more help with kids' meals or making a meal plan? You can say, okay, this you can do, I shared that. I think I shared with you, Andrea, one of my friends posts that every week she does this tray. It's just a muffin tin and she puts different foods in each tray. And it's a game with her kid to have her try new foods and to see what she likes. Cause you guys all know, put some food in front of some kids, don't tell them to eat it. They're going to start reaching for it, right? They're going to try things if you're not forcing it down their throat. Well, she does this every week. And so you could actually have a what we ate Wednesday theme to your stories and show a tray of food that you put in front of your kids. And you could do a poll with that every week. Does your kid Brussels sprouts or bell peppers, or does your kid like vegetables or fruit more? Do a little poll with the veggies or fruit, And so that honestly, I really, like Lauren said, I invite every day. I talk about a challenge group or the coaching opportunity every day. And I just say, do you want more information? Do you want to, get fit this summer? You can ask it however you want to. I don't ever do a yes and no poll. I always have 2 positive choices, like yes or heck yeah, or, give me the details or sign me up, something like that. So you just kind of just start to play with it, and you can see what we do. I mean, I don't want you to like just be in our stories all day, but like if you're like, okay, I've got these stories put together, how do I close it? Like, how do I invite? I'm definitely happy to help you with that. But I think just like Lauren said, I do this a lot. Like if I do a story series about my challenge group, it might be that like, I struggled with an eating disorder at some points of my story, or that, like I worked full time, and I just talk about time and how I made time. I share some tips about how I made time to start working out. And then I start to talk about the group, right? And so like, if you can do it in lots of different ways, I feel like just pulling from your story is most important. But also you can do it by adding value and saying, we're going to talk about, like meal planning in my boot camp this month. Do you want some more information, or do you want me to save you one of the spots? Things like that. Just being excited in your verbiage is really important. Honestly, people respond to that better than anything. And also creating some FOMO. Like a few times a week, I'll do like a count, or like a 1 through 10. I've got 10 spots left. And as people sign up, I'll put their names in, and I'm like, okay, 3 spots left. Like people respond to that as well. And 2, honestly, Andrea, like I don't have that many people actually vote in my polls or send me a message, but I'm inviting people who are watching my stories over and over and over. Okay. So don't think like, oh, I've been putting out these invites and nobody's responding. Like I don't have that many that click yes. And when I do, like I'll have a lot of people I message and they never respond back, but I am starting conversations over the, like, do you make your coffee first or do you feed your kids first in the morning? Like I had a ton of people that responded to that. I started conversations with people who read books at the pool, like I start more conversations there that I transition to messages and invites than I do from direct messages. But we have to be talking about our challenge groups in our stories and in our posts, or otherwise people aren't going to know what we're talking about whenever we invite them. Okay. Does that make sense? Let's see. It is out of my comfort zone, but just in the past few days, it's made a difference. That's the thing too. Like, like the way I market my challenge groups and coaching opportunities, I am talking about them both for a full 2 weeks before the closeout date, right? So like I started posting about my Summer Love Bootcamp on Monday, and I was like, dang, I didn't really get that many like engagements or many votes on my polls or whatever. But then I had to remind myself, Rachel, it takes like a good week of me talking about it before I really get to start people respond to what I'm asking them to do. So, like it does take consistency, and yes, in just a few days, it does make a difference. All right. Anybody, do y'all have any more questions about that? And so like, then we're going to talk about inviting, because what's our goal this month? Our goal is definitely to help at least 3 people get started in our boot camp. And like that is, you guys all signed up with a challenge pack. You guys all committed to Shakeology and a workout program. And I always tell coaches, if you do it, there are other people who are willing to do it too. Okay. So don't let that intimidate you. So we're going to be inviting, and, like tomorrow, I think it is, in our group, we're talking about our coach announcement. So if you haven't made a coach announcement yet, like that's on your to-do list this week. You can do it tonight. You can do it tomorrow. You can do it Friday or Saturday, but I usually, Friday, Saturday, people are kind of checked out a little bit, but you're going to tell people you're a coach. You're going to say, hey, like you're going to go back to the beginning of your story and talk about what your struggles were with nutrition, or, like what kind of results you've gotten thus far, or whatever it is from your story, and just share you first. And then you're going to say, I found so much success. Like I've had so much success, and it's so sustainable that I just know I got to help other people do this. And so like I am running a boot camp with my coach starting June 17th. And I am actually just looking for 3 women that want to get healthy and fit this summer. We're going to talk about meal plans. We're going to share meal plans. We're going to do workouts from home. We're going to like really learn about clean eating and how to fuel our bodies and just take care of ourselves this summer. And we're all going to do it together and hold each other accountable. If you want one of the 3 spots, then, drop a heart below or send me a message or like this post or whatever. And that's your coach announcement. So people know you're actually doing something to help other people, and they can be a part of it. All right. And so that's what comes next if you have not done this. And then you're going to just start sending invites. We talked about your dirt list last week. Who are people, like Lauren said, that would buy dirt from you? You're going to start to invite them. There are scripts in our coach training, but don't overthink it. Like, don't overthink it. Don't word vomit on people. Don't start saying, hey, do you want to spend $160 to do this group with me? But just say, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm working out from home. I'm clean eating. I have started drinking the superfood shake. It's amazing. And I'm actually part of an online community of women who we're all doing the same thing together. And it's really helping me stay committed. And I'm also getting results by doing the things, right? Do you want to be a part, or are you open to learning more about joining this boot camp with me this month and doing it with me? I'd love to get results with you, right? So you just send that out to your dirt list and see what they say. If they say yes, tell me more. Or if they say, how much does it cost? And you're like, oh, what do I do? That's where you're like, okay, like go back to some of the resources we give you. Ask us in our training. That's what it's there for. And we will walk you through those conversations because it is scary. And I have word vomited all over people. And, like we definitely want to teach you how to talk to people about that.
So I often call my coaches out and I tell them, I'm like, I really think that your biggest fear isn't getting a no. I think your biggest fear when you invite is getting a yes, because then you have to start committing to things. And you're like, oh shoot, what do I say? What do I do? I can't tell you how many conversations I have with my coaches where they're like, I finally invited and someone wants to know. And I'm like, of course they do. So one thing that I used to it used to give me chills, because I was like, why would you do that? That's so salesy, is I live and breathe by a script for two reasons. So I stay organized and make sure I give them all the information that they need to know to make a good decision. And then also so I don't word vomit on them. I don't use a script because I'm salesy. I use a script so that I don't send them running the other direction because I'm a freak. So, and I know within my team page, there's scripts for almost every program and every kind of scenario. And it sounds a lot like what Rachel just said, but do you guys know about the quick replies on your Instagram? You know about that, right, Rachel?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm not going to sit here and explain it here. I'll make a post in the group later, but just know that you need to go ahead and transfer your Instagram account and make it into a business account. Mm-hmm. To do that, you have to have a like page on Facebook, right?
Yes, you do.
It has to link to it. But that's not a scary thing either. I'll walk you guys through that at some point too. But you need to go ahead and just transfer this to a business account so that you can get all the fun features for free, because it's still free. But yeah, scripts are a good thing. They are not salesy.
Right. Yes. And I just, I can share it in our team page too, but I have a Google Doc where actually I'll share it right here. Duh. If you guys are on a computer, you can copy that. But I just have a Google Doc that says how to invite to a challenge group, and it's got resources from Beachbody. It's got my email that I send to people after, and I've got even a sample conversation of how I would invite someone and talk to them before I just sent them all the information, right? And then there's even some follow-ups in there too, so you guys can definitely use that. And I am definitely a scripts person. I don't say the same thing to everybody, because obviously people's responses are going to be different, but I do follow a very, very systemized way that I go through the conversations. I invite. They say they want more information. I ask them about their goals. Once they connect, you guys, getting people to connect and understand why they want to do it is so important. Instead of just saying, oh yeah, you're going to lose weight and all this stuff. Somebody says, I need to lose 30 pounds so I can get in the floor to play with my kids. Hello, you pretty much just that person committed to doing it with you, right? Or my cholesterol's through the roof, or my blood pressure is too high. People know why they want to do it. They just have to say it out loud. And once you say something out loud, it becomes much more real, right? So I ask them about their goals, what their struggles are, and I wait for them to respond. It's just very much like I'm sitting next to someone. I'm not going to keep talking and not let them talk, right? So you think of conversations that way. And then at some point I transition it to oh girl, I think this would be perfect for you. Can I get you to either fill out this form or give me your email? Because I'll always collect emails, always, always, always. And I say, I'll email you all the details and we can talk about it more after you read that, right? And there's even things in there how to handle objections, rejections, what happens when people stop responding, because it's going to happen. And, like, just practice this and know that people are going to say no. Like Lauren, we say that all the time, but a lot of times their no's become yeses eventually. They usually do. So, but yes, inviting has to be a daily behavior. You can do all the posts, you can make all the stories, you can do all the, like, check the boxes on your BAT, but if you're not inviting, you're not going to grow an income or hit your goals for the month. All right. And I know it's scary, so do it first. Do it first thing when you wake up in the morning. Go look at who watched your stories yesterday about your challenge group and send a message that says, hey, Sally, hey, thanks so much for following me, and go to their feed, find something about them, say, I love your little family, they're so cute. But I noticed that you watch my stories about my challenge group. Are you open to learning more about that? Do you have some goals that you're working on yourself? Let's chat, So invite people. And it really and truly, you guys, like, now it seems like, I know it's scary and it's overwhelming, but if you just start to do the things, you can't wait till you're confident or until you know it's going to work. You just have to trust us and start doing the things. Then the confidence will come. Then the results will come, and we'll walk you through it. We're here with you. We're not going to make you do it. We're not going to come knock on your door. But, when you're doing it and you have questions, that's what we're here for. Because we walk this road before you, and we know exactly pretty much everything that's going to happen. And so, like, we're here to help you. And track it. You guys, like, I can't stress tracking enough. Like, you have to write down. If you follow someone new or someone accepts your follow on Instagram, write their name down today. Because that's somebody you're going to start to build a relationship with, right? If someone is watching your stories over and over, write their name down today, and you're going to start to build that relationship. Now, one of the things I used to do as a new coach is I had these little, Walmart makes these cute little, like, notebooks, and they have 3 tabs in them. And so, like, on the first part of it, I would write down people that I followed, and the next part I would write down, like, people I connected with, and then at the back I would write down people that I invited each day. So it was just a way for me to track what I was doing every single day and to be able to go back and look. And then, like, or if in your calendar, you can, like, in the very beginning, I would just write it down in my calendar, so make sure you're writing people's names down. There's also lots of things you could do, like Google Streak, Teamsy, but, you don't have to. Right now, you just need a pen and some paper, because otherwise you're going to lose people. You can't rely on Messenger. You've got to write down who you're talking to, okay? Because that way you know who to follow up with and stuff too. Do you have any tips on that, Lauren?
I actually I think it's on the business activity, the Success Club System Tracker is what they call it now. Mm-hmm. There is a list on there. I don't actually print that one off. What I do is I actually print my Success Club System Tracker on cardstock because I'm that kind of person. I don't know why, but I print that on cardstock and I keep it on a clipboard. And then whenever I think there are different ways you can track people and it works. I just do, because I've done all sorts of systems and they've all worked. It's just really what you prefer. I do what Moira Casaba does, and I only track people that respond back to me, whether that's just a connection or if it's an invite. Because if they're not responding back to me, there's really not a need to track them other than just like that you did invite them. But as far as like going back and following up, like I only follow up if they have responded to me. Now, if someone's watching my stories 8 months later and I've invited them 4 times, I'm still going to invite them again. Like, I'm going to come back that way, because they will still be there in your funnel. But as far as like tracking, I only write their name down, when they respond to me, even if it's a no, like, or whatever. Like that's how I track. But I do it on the back of my Success Club System Tracker, just so I have it all in one place.
Yeah. Again, tracking, I made that excuse so long. I don't have a good system for tracking, but I really just needed to find something that worked for me and just stick with it. So, definitely do that.
I would get too overwhelmed.
Yeah. It really is so simple. And then the last thing, make sure you guys are reading personal development. Like, this is the easiest part to skip, but it's also the easiest part to do, and it's going to change your business. So this was my favorite. Is still, I read this book every day still. The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson, and it's not on Audible. I don't know why. I had the CDs when I started, which is why it's so near and dear to me. I listened to it on my commute to work, and it just like ingrained itself in my brain. And actually a lot of my content came from it, still comes from it, for my posts and for my challenge groups and stuff. So please, like 10 minutes a day is all you got to do. You can do it while you're in the shower. You can do it at the grocery store. You can do it like right before you get up to push play. Like, your personal development, the people who don't do it are not going to stick with this. I know that from personal experience. So make sure you're doing that too.
My favorite are podcasts. Like, it doesn't matter where you get them. Just get the PD. Mm-hmm. My favorite is from podcasts, and my two favorite pretty much of all time is Melanie Mitros, because every time I finish listening to hers, I feel like I just got my butt kicked, and then she's also shoving me out the door to go do the work. So like, I love that mentality. And then I really love Keisha Fitzgerald. They're both coaches, but they're both really good at not just being coachy. Keisha Fitzgerald, hers is called Empowering Her, and hers are really cool because they're a little bit more psychologically based. She really likes to go into like what fears are and how to get underneath them and pop them out and, you know, move on with your life and overcoming setbacks and that kind of stuff. So Melanie's a little bit more businessy, which I really like. And then Keisha's a little bit more woo-woo, which I also like. And so those are my two favorite podcasts to listen to if you like need quick 15, 20-minute stuff.
And then, of course, the National Wake Up Call. Please don't skip those. That's just part of your work, okay? I still listen to them, but especially for newer coaches. Like, they are just absolutely essential. Okay, and then I think we're going to wrap it up. You guys ask us questions in the chat if you have them. Lauren, you were going to talk about, like, the possibilities, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Like income and fun stuff.
Really, I don't know. Maybe I'll just do a live video.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'll do a live video.
Yeah, we'll do that. All right. Do you guys have any questions? Did this help? I know it overwhelmed you. I'm not even going to ask that. So, did this help? Like, give you some things to do? So, call to actions. What do we want to give them to do right now? I say drop your BAT in the
that's exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah, in the group today. Okay, we'll do a thread, or Lauren can post a like call to action tonight and say, okay, show us your BAT, and you guys are gonna show us. Okay, if you don't have it printed out, go print it out and fill out that bad boy. Actually, go ahead and print one out for tomorrow because it starts over tomorrow. But I don't care. Print one out for today too if you don't have it yet. All right.
For sure.
Yeah. All right, you guys. Well, we're here. We're rooting for you, and I'm excited. And we will talk to you guys again next week. All right.
Bye. Bye.